Hi, everyone. My name is Jelena Komanchuk, and I'm excited to be here virtually with you on World Children's Day to share my experience of traveling to Burkina Faso and volunteering in the Teega Wende Orphanage. I went to Burkina Faso in 2007 to volunteer in the orphanage. I was so excited to get the chance to travel to Burkina because going to Africa was a dream of mine since I was a really young girl. I remember hearing about Africa, or the first that I remember thinking about Africa was when I was 5 years old, and I always wanted to go. When I was 5, I thought Africa was one big country. And of course, I learned that Africa is a continent that has many countries. And as you can see with this picture of a globe, Burkina Faso is a small country in the continent of Africa, and it's surrounded by other countries, not by the ocean, kind of like how Alberta is surrounded by other provinces. I took this photo in Burkina of children walking home from school. Unfortunately, not very many children get the chance to go to school in Burkina. According to UNICEF, last year, only 50% of children in Burkina were able to go to school. So that means that if you have 30 students in your classroom, only 15 of them would be able to go to school. We are really fortunate that all children in Canada can go to school. In Canada, we're also really lucky that we can go to the doctor or the hospital when we're feeling sick, and that we can get medicine to help us feel better. Sometimes families in Burkina aren't able to go to the doctor or get medicine when they're feeling sick. Lots of families also don't have electricity in Burkina. So that means that they can't turn on lights or have fans or air conditioning, even though it's really hot outside. Most families cook meals like you see in this photo with a pot over a fire. And I took this photo while I was there. This was from the kitchen of the family's home where I was living. The bathrooms in Burkina are also very different than the bathrooms in Canada. So in the morning, when it was time to get ready, instead of having a shower or a bathtub, I would have a bucket of water and pour cups over my head to make my own shower. And this photo is a picture of a bathroom. So it's kind of hard to see, but there's no toilet in this bathroom. Instead, there's a little hole in the ground, and you stand over the hole instead of sitting down on a toilet. So you can probably tell from these photos that Burkina Faso is a very poor country. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. But one thing that I will never forget about Burkina Faso was how happy, kind, and welcoming the people were to me. And this was surprising to me because lots of their lives were really, really hard. I love looking at this photo because I can remember this day. And I remember the women that were dancing and how happy they were. And I remember feeling surprised because I thought that they would feel more sad because of how hard their lives were. But they were very, very joyful. I will also always remember how generous the Burkinabe people were. I was surprised by how willing Burkinabe people were to share the belongings that they had with others, even though they didn't have very much. And this is something that I think about often. I think that in Canada, we could learn to be more giving, like many of the people I saw in Burkina Faso were. One kind and generous woman that I met in Burkina Faso is the founder of the Teega Wende Orphanage. I called her Mama Zita because she welcomed me into her home and treated me like her daughter while I was living there. Sometimes children in Burkina Faso don't have families to take care of them, but Mama Zita and a group of other caring, dedicated women have made an orphanage for these children to stay in and call their home. Mama Zita and the nannies make sure that the babies and children have a safe place in the orphanage. They keep the orphanage really clean, and they make sure that the babies and children have delicious food to eat. In this photo, the babies are eating a traditional meal called to. And this is something that is often eaten in Burkina Faso. What to reminds me of, it was something that wasn't really like anything I'd ever had before, but it reminded me a little bit of cream of wheat. If you've had cream of wheat or oatmeal, you've probably had it with milk and maybe brown sugar or something to make it sweet. But toe had the same kind of texture of cream of wheat, but instead of having something sweet, it had a sauce on it that reminded me of something we would maybe put on pasta. I love these photos of the baby sleeping in the orphanage. So in the top photo, you can see that these are really teeny tiny newborn babies, and they're sleeping in a cot at nighttime. So this is at bedtime. And in the bottom photo, this was during nap time during the day, and lots of the babies were laying on a mat on the ground, and that was a hard ground. And I love that this little baby, this smart little baby, found a really soft stuffy to snuggle into to make nap time more cozy. I feel really lucky that I had the chance to travel to Burkina Faso and to see the orphanage and the great work that Mama Zita and the nannies are doing to help take care of children in Burkina. I'm so happy that CARO continues to raise money to keep the orphanage running. I would like to thank CARO for inviting me to share my experiences today, and I hope that you have a great afternoon learning about Burkina and the orphanage.